Level 2 killers. How dangerous are they? What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So out here in California, for those of you that don't know, let me break it down to you, or break it down for you. The prison system out here in California basically consists of 4 levels. Level 1 being the lowest level of security. Level 4, the highest. And within the level 4s, there's actually 2 different security levels. There's a level 4 180, which is the highest. And then there's a level 4 270. 180 and 270 has to do with the design of the buildings. 270s are more open inside the building. 180 is every section is walled in. You can't get from one section to another without the cops allowing you to. Okay. There are places that I think aren't even level 1s. I don't know what they are, but for the most part, it's that levels 1 through 4. Okay. And we have a term out here, level 1 killer, level 2 killer, right? And when you call somebody a level 1 killer or a level 2 killer, it's usually you're making fun of them because there ain't that much killing on level 2. Those guys are usually short term. They're doing time a whole lot different than level 3, and especially way different than a level 4. Okay. There are lifers on level 2s because there's going to be people in here that did level 2 time and are going to feel offended, and you shouldn't feel offended. You shouldn't feel offended because you weren't as big of an idiot as a lot of us that went to level 4s. I had a cellie that started on a level 1 and due to write-ups and getting into stuff, wound up on a level 4 with us. So it happens. But those that went to level 2, stayed there and paroled from there, you don't have to be embarrassed, man. Don't take it personal when I make this video. This video is, to me, serious, okay? So, again, we call people, check this vato out on fucking level 2 killing ass. And that's usually because it's somebody that we know isn't going to bust a grape, but they're talking a good one. But I want to flip that on its head today. And I want to talk about how dangerous are level 2 killers. And in all seriousness, there are some dudes that are level 2s, I got to make sure I say it right, that are not killers, but very dangerous. And I want to explain why I say that. See, you have dudes that go to level 2s, right? And they really don't know the program. They know the program that's there, what's expected of them to, be ready for war and, be up at a certain time in the morning, to bust down, to be disciplined. They know those things. But see, those are all the superficial things. See, they're not around heavy hitters. They're not around the dudes who are the movers and shakers in the criminal world. No. They're around guys that have been around those guys and hear stories about those guys. And then they want to live up to someone's version of prison. So can you see where I'm going with this? How dangerous it can be? When you're on a level 4 and you see the cannibalism, when you see a righteous soldado come up on the short end of a political dispute, the mystique and the mythology take a beating because you're right there in person to see it. But see, when you're that level 2 killer, see, you don't get to see that up front. And so it's easy for the level 2 killer to have this whole, fuck that vato. That vato's done more than you've ever done. He's everything you dreamed about, level 2 killer. He didn't fuck up. There was a dispute that he lost. His ducks weren't in a row and the other guys were. Or the other guy knew somebody and called in a favor. So I trip out on these dudes that are on level 2s that act like they're killers, but they ain't leaving that level 2. No siree. They might be slinging a little dope, nickel and diming it. And, you know, they have their old lady convinced that they're a gangster. They have family members of theirs that don't know any better. And they're like, hey, my fucking primo, he's over there and on a level 2, right? He's over there, Holmes. He's doing tiempo. And, hey, Holmes, he got at me. And, hey, Holmes, he wants us to do this in the neighborhood. And and that family member is going to go to other people that have the same amount of knowledge as him about the game. And so the level 2 killer, who's actually a narcissist, it blows his ego up. Right? He's playing a dangerous game, but it's only dangerous for those that he's fooled. See, I remember when I came down from Pelican Bay and I got to New Folsom the second time. And I've talked about the dudes that had leadership there were not up to par. And eventually myself and 4 others stepped in and pushed the leadership out and had to take over in order to make things the way they're supposed to be, what is acceptable and expected, right? But one of the dudes that was in charge, we were laughing at him because he went to visit and was telling his old lady that he was running things, that he was that dude on the yard. And there were other homies that overheard his conversation and visiting and came back. And they were telling us, hey, Holmes, you know what this fucking lame's telling his lady? And he told us, and we laughed about it. What real gangster needs to brag about his activities to his old lady? What the fuck? A real gangster don't even talk about his business. He's about his business. But see, that level 2 killer, that level 2 gangster, that is only surface level, superficial knowledge, he's got other people convinced that he's really somebody because he's on a level 2 yard. And those people he's able to convince will probably crash out for him. And then get to the joint and they wind up on a level 4 like, hey, homie, I thought you were really doing things, but you're on a level 2? You ain't doing no pegadas and you talking about you're a camarada? And look it, I just did a video about tattoos. There's dudes on these level 1s and level 2s that get these certain tattoos because there's nobody there to call them on it. And shit, you never know. Another faction might not be feeling who your group and get off on your group, and there you go. Now you gotta shoot them. Now you might have had to defend yourself. Maybe it was out of fear. Maybe you had the balls. I don't know. But now you wind up on a level 4. Now, all the mythology that you believed in, you get to see things up close and personal. You get to run with the big boys. And the big boys are going to want to know, homie, where you get that ink from, Holmes? Who did that? So, not only do you have the ink on you, but they also want to know who put it on you. I can tell you that on the level 4s, it was well known for the Huras to plant vatos that were no good on level 2s because they didn't have any cares. They knew that these dudes were more laced up. They knew the game, and they would run circles around these vatos on the level 2s. We would hear about it. I remember being in New Folsom, and Old Folsom's next door. And we got word that an ex-legend, someone who went out all the way, was over there in Old Folsom. And he had convinced everybody over there, and he was running the yard. Imagine all the level 2 killers over there that thought they were really listening to somebody worth listening to. And they were really gonna go to the visiting room and get some dope and give him a third of it. Because that was the homie right there. That's now with everybody out, there are heavy hitters on some of the level 2s. Some. Very few. It's hard for them to get there. But there are some dudes who had some weight on them that, I don't want to say legends are on level 2. I can't say that. But dudes that were around legends that know what time it is that have reached level 2s. There's a few. They usually don't last though because the dudes on the level 2 don't like those guys to be around. It makes them nervous. To have the real dudes from level 4s, real dudes that sat in the bay, in the shoe for 30 years, for 20 years, 15 years. To have them come around, that's a wrench in their program. See, they're used to living a fallacy, a myth. And then when people come that know the reality, the guy that just got out of the shoe after all those years, he has 10 kites dropped on him. It's not fun when you're getting kites dropped on you all the time. You know, but I felt like I wanted to make this video because of some comments that I saw, you know, and also because I want to make sure that people understand the reality of, if you have a homeboy or a loved one and he's doing time and he's trying to involve you in behind the wall activities, especially if you're a woman. You know, the women don't know, for the most part, the difference between a level 1 and level 2 and a level 4. And my thing is, again, I don't know any homies that would brag to their ladies about the despicable things that have to be done behind the walls. You know, whatever you got to do behind those walls, you got to do. But when you get into that visiting room or you get on that phone with your lady, that's your 15 minutes or that's your 3 hours or whatever amount of time it is to leave the prison wall and be with somebody who loves you, somebody who trusts you, somebody you can love and trust without there being any ulterior motives. See, on the yard, everything is conditional. Everything. With everybody. There are dudes in there that will whack their own brothers, blood brothers. There were dudes in there that will whack their own fathers in there. Understand how conditional prison is. For some, the program is everything. But anyways, I just wanted to put this video out there. Some food for thought. I respect those that have to do their time. And, you know, there's nothing else you can do but do your time, homes. And if you do your time as a man, I tip my hat to you. Those that are manipulators and are playing gangster, it makes no sense to me, man. It makes no sense. You if you're a short timer, you have action at going home, and you have an old lady, you have a family, you have kids. Man, get some self-help. Get you some education. And then get your ass out here and hit the ground running. Start a business. Employ people. Impress your family that way. Impress your loved ones with that. You know, it's fascinating to hear these prison stories, but it's not impressive. And you know, I've said it a bunch of times. Killing's easy, man. Killing is easy and fast. The time that comes with it ain't. That's hard time. And it's a long time. That's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.